Good everyone. I hope you guys have an amazing day. So today I'll be talking about the knowledge search. In the previous episode, if you remember, I did mention a little bit about the case suggestion, right? For instance, like if you go to the knowledge setting, let me show you what I meant. So, as usual, I've logged into my org, right? So the way to go to setup is going to the gecko icon, right? Pretty simple. It's not fancy here. So just go to knowledge, right? Under knowledge settings, if you recall, so in the last episode, I did mention something about, let me edit, right? Um, the case and the subject. So when you have a subject, right, which kind of matches with your knowledge based article, you will get the suggestion on the right hand side, right, or wherever you put it as a part of your layout design. So that's handy. That's fantastic, right? But imagine, say, let me give you a scenario, right? Let's say you are a company uh, manufactures, solar panel, and the customer calls you for, different reasons. Say you have an article, everything starts with solar panels, right? You have thousands, or say, 3,000 articles in place. Everything has a solar panel. Now, if your case subject starts with the solar panel, you will get pretty much like 1,000 suggestions, right? Which is not really what you're after, right? So you might have a very specific query, and you might even have an article, pointing to that specific query. But how do you search for it, right? If you don't have any setting in place, if you don't have any configuration in place, it's not a very good user experience, from a search point of view, right? Say or let's say you decide not to use this option, right? So you decide to say, I will search from here, say solar panel. Okay. Now, if you search for solar, you will get two articles, like as you can see there, right? In my org, I got only two, but if you have thousands of it, right, it kind of gets very confusing, and you must be wondering, how to. So so here you can say just one article, right? So so here it's easy, but if you have thousands, you must be wondering, it's kind of confusing. It's not very user friendly, right? So, is there anything we can do to make that user experience more on a friendlier side of things, right? Yes, we can do that. So there are a few settings which you can configure, which makes your life as an agent, or or if you're not only an agent, if you're someone who uses the knowledge article often for something else, right? Will be a rewarding experience. So the few things which we can do, that's exactly what I'm going to walk you through, right? The first thing, so if you remember, we went to the knowledge settings, so it's pretty simple, right? Just go to the gearcog icon under setup, and you look for the knowledge setup, and just go for the knowledge settings, right? And so it will take you here, right? Now, you just have to check three checkboxes, right? The first one is the highlight relevant article text within search results, right? So which means, as you can see what it means, right? It talks about, shows content from the return article that matches the search criteria, which is like it's pretty much highlights the stuff from the article, right? And then autocomplete keyword search, autocomplete title search, which is fantastic, right? That's all great. So this works. Now, say for instance, I wanted to search here. Say I wanted to say sun, right? Some people associate solar panel like a sun, right? I couldn't find anything, right? And right, obviously won't, because no one really puts the word sun associates to the solar panel. That's like a synonymous kind of word, right? Uh, you can do that if you're after. So I'll show you how to do that. Say, uh, if you wanted to, say, for instance, for beer, right? You can put lager, ale, stout, right? So you can make it as a synonymous word, and so that if you search for, say, beer ingredients, you can search lager, it will show you that article. Or if you wanted to search, say, stout, it will show you that article. I'll show you in a second. Say, for instance, I'll search for stout. See, you got article here, beer ingredients. Now, if you look at my beer ingredients, right, there's nowhere I mention anything about the stout here, right? Not even a single. You won't see anywhere, right? I talked about barley malt, hops, water, corn, right? Some of the beers they use rice, and I mean, like, um, there's a couple of beers, right? They use rice as well. Some of them use the corn as well. So yeah, some of them use different ingredients, right? So these days they're adding fruits to make the sour beer. So there are a lot of options you can do with the beer. So that's besides the point. So say stout, right? There's no mention of stout anywhere. Okay, so stout is a style of beer, if you're wondering, and the same goes to lager, same goes to porter, same goes to ale. Ale, you got different ales. You got mild ale, you got Pacifica ale. So you got fruity ales of different kinds of right. Um, so even they have sour ale. So beer, I haven't seen yet like bacon version of ale, but I heard someone did that in America, but in New Zealand at least I haven't seen the bacon flavor ale, but or I can say pineapple flavor ale or chicken flavor ale. That sounds ridiculous, right? But yeah. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Okay, so if I type, say, lager, right, and hit enter, you see, because I've configured lager, porter, stout, ale as a synonymous word. Now, you must be wondering, okay, that sounds exciting, but how do you do that? That's pretty simple. So let's go back to the setup again, right? So the same page. So instead you say synonymous. This is a part of Einstein search, right? So go here and you can see that I have done that here, right? Synonymous search. Okay, now what I wanted to do, I wanted to make a synonymous word for the solar panel. I want to put solar, sun, right? So I could just say, I'll just put solar, sun. Let's even say vitamin D, right? It's a stupid analogy, but just to prove a point. Let me use it as a one word, right? Vitamin D. So just use the English. They support different language, so for now we just worry about English, right? I refresh it, right? And so we got this here, right? Fantastic. Now let me refresh this page here as well. And now if I do sun, right? Procedure to install the solar panel. It's pretty cool, but just a second. Let's say sun. See? Now you can see I put sun here. It gave me an option to install the solar panel, right? And if I do solar, right, it gives you that. And if I type install, right, you get an article here. So you see what I meant? So this is one way you can, tidy up. Say, for instance, some people put, the cake, right? You can have black forest, you can have chocolate cake, uh, you can have. I'm not much into cakes, but just an analogy, right? You can put coffee cake, velvet cake, whatever, right? So you can make those as synonymous. And if you have an article how to bake a cake, right? So even if you put the black forest, it will bring up that article. So it's a kind of giving a better user experience, right? And I find it really exciting, this feature, to be honest, because at the end of the day, right, the technology should be used to help people perform their job in an efficient way, right? So if you have an option in Salesforce which delivers that functionality, why not make use of it, right? And you'll be surprised. Most of the people are not even aware of it, and they assume that okay, the default configuration works very well. It works fine, but if you have a few articles, but if you have tens of thousands of it, then it kind of get clunky and the user experience kind of change, right? So you have to make that flexible and rewarding user experience so that people find it, easy to use the Salesforce. Okay, now if you go back to articles, there is a promoting term. Let me look at if the vitamin D works. You know, while we are here. Yeah, vitamin D works, right? So that's fantastic. Now, let me go back to the solar panel, right? Article. This is an article. So if you go to related list, right? There's something called promoter search term. If you want to promote the search term, right, where using which you can search the specific article, you can do that as well. So if I want to say, um, um, a word. So if I wanted to use a code word, right? Say just a stupid search. I'm just saying x plus y equals to z, right? Now you must be wondering what the heck it is. Well, I'm just trying to show you a very unique search to see if that works, right? Say for instance, this is what an agent decides to give a promoter search, which is very silly, which is very strange. But people I've seen some of the org where people use the knowledge article and the kind of promoter search what they used will kind of surprise you what the heck that even mean, right? So okay, x plus y equals to z, right? Or z, whatever, right? In Americans call it as a z, but it means the same anyway. So it worked, which is fantastic. All right, let's give some meaningful for it, maybe. So I think it doesn't work very well. So promote a search term. So I think I might have a space. Right. Okay. Just one X, Y, Z. I just give just for the sake of it. So if I say X, Y, Z, oh, that doesn't make sense. All right. For some reason, it's not picking up. Um, should have picked up, but oh, all right. Okay. Now let me see X, Y, Z. Hmm. Just a second. Um, Let me try to add uh, I'll just do new and I will say, uh, sorry, just, let's say I will just add contract. Um, all right, so, okay, I will do this, publish it. All right, I publish this. And just a second, guys, just trying to see what, okay, all right. Now, all right, so let me use the same and I'll publish it. Let's see, X, Y, Z. All right. Yeah, it took some time. So sorry about that. So what I've done, right? So I went to the article, right? And I changed it. So I promoted terms. So this is the you have to make sure that you use this term wisely. Just don't abuse it because this is something you need to use when you want your article to stand out, right? So, for instance, if you're out of 1,000 solar panel articles, if you want to put a word to say, like, I mean, this is just a stupid word, X, Y, Z, make no sense, right? But just want to prove a point, right? If you add XYZ, it will point to that specific article, right? Just to stand out. So you might have, say, let's take an example of the beer, right? So you might have an article where you talk about specifically about how to brew a porter, right? And or how to brew a stout because the brewing of the stout is different to brewing of the lager because of the temperature difference. So you can put the keyword here to say porter brewing or something, so which will only bring out that specific article when you're looking for it. So this is why this option is very handy in my opinion. And so once you configure this, then I believe that you will have the better user experience in terms of the knowledge search, right? A lot of things you can do in Salesforce. It's just that you need to aware about what things you need to use it, right? Because most of the time, what happens is that if you're an admin configuring the Service Cloud for the first time, you might think, okay, this is not really important because you only got like 4 to 5 articles, right? What difference it makes anyway? It's bringing out. But imagine for an org, right, which contains thousands of it, right? It will become a challenge eventually if you wanted to just rely on the user because it's a waste of agent time, to be honest, right? To scroll through each article, to go through it, say, oh, this is another one, okay, that's another one. Instead, do something like this or use synonymous, right? Or even use that the case and the title or whatever, right, which I mentioned in the beginning, and the knowledge setting where you can configure um, based on the case. So yeah, so this is all I wanted to cover in this episode, right? I felt that this is very important, right? It's the most ignored topic in Service Cloud, which I've noticed. No one talks about it openly. Yes, Service Cloud is a very cool technology, but this plays a very important role, in my opinion, to give that better user experience. Because for me, user experience makes a lot of difference, right? You are selling a stuff to somebody, you are configuring the stuff for someone so that they become efficient in their job, right? If you're not taking care of few things, right, it can impact their efficiency, and which is not really great in my opinion. So yeah, that's. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So yeah, have a great Sunday.